elementary principals in southeast Missouri. She's also the only other person who has spanked my kid besides me. And I'm not going to say which one, but if you want to stand up in the back, you can. So we got Jason Bean in the back. Jason's a local farmer, a friend of mine. He's also wanting to be your next state senator. So he really wants you to vote for him in August, but he really just wants you to go vote. But while you're there, you might as well vote for Jason. He's the best candidate. And he really does a great job of supporting all the communities around. My good friend Kim Kiesler, Dr. Kim Kiesler, I forgot about that. Dr. Kim Kiesler, good friend of mine. She lives around Van Duzer area. She's the middle school principal at Woodland. And glad you're here today. Kimberly Blissett, she's the assistant superintendent from school system. And Kimberly has raised the best 2 kids in southeast Missouri besides mine. And I don't know why she's the assistant at Sikeston, because I know she's better than the superintendent. So just wait. She'll be the superintendent of Sikeston soon. And Dr. Sam Duncan, a good friend of mine there in the back. He's the superintendent of New Medford County Central. I know Sam really well. We don't see each other a lot, but he's one of the most passionate people I know about getting students successful. He would take a bullet for a student, and that's a good trait to have in your superintendent. So we're glad to have you all here today. I don't have any more jokes for you because I'm not a very good joke teller, but recognize these guys and girls' business. Go to the school, ask them questions. They'll be here afterwards for questions. We got some real good entrepreneurs here in the crowd today as judges, and I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for being here today. Thank you. Going to turn the program over to the best MC in Southeast Missouri, maybe the world, voted by me, Luke Carter.
All right, here we go. All rolling. So what we're going to do is we're going to randomly draw. We've got the 5 counties in this bowl. We're going to randomly draw the count, and that's going to be your presentation order. Okay? Real suspenseful. Are y'all ready? Let's get our hands together. Let's try to build a little bit of energy before we do one big clap. Okay? Because we have to keep this train going, the whole thing. Presenting first from Bullinger County would be Judson Mayfield. Please remain seated, and we'll do all 5, and then I'll tell you what we're going to do then. Presenting second, you're going to be on deck. You're going to hear me say, you're on deck. That means you'll be second in the hallway. Okay? New Madrid County. So Judson, go ahead and make your way to the back of the room. See Mr. Red Johnson out in the hall, and he'll show you what you're going to do next. New Madrid County, you're going to be on deck. You'll also go to the hallway, follow Mr. Mayfield there and Red Johnson. Going third, Pemiscot County. You're going to remain seated until I tell you otherwise. Fourth, Stoddard County. And batting fifth, Butler County. So, as always, as these entrepreneurs present, we're going to ask that you give them a bunch of respect and keep quiet, have your phones on silent, and give them a big round of applause as they come out. And let me see if Judson's ready. Okay, they're going to bring him on stage here. He's got a few things to set up, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. So it's going to be a little choppy at first, but we're going to get it rolling, and it's going to be pretty smooth. This is our inaugural Bright Idea Contest. So you ready? Okay. We got a little restroom break, and then we'll be ready. So I'm going to audition for you guys. A little karaoke. You ready? Okay. No, I'm not going to. But I did learn a new term today that's going to be probably widely used. Beards are very popular now, and you get hat heads. Now you get masked beard, right? Hey, that's a good one. So we'll get everything set up here. We're getting his slideshow set up. Let's see, what else could we talk about here to fill a little time? I'm live on YouTube and live on Facebook. I'm sure I look really good right now at what I'm doing. Oh, Brad, I did sign this down. I'm losing my mind, but it's going to be okay.
Hey, Luke.
Huh?
You might need to dim the lights a little bit to see the.
Oh, yeah. See if we can light down a little bit.
Can you see?
Somewhat.
Around the.
Okay. You ready? We'll bring his stuff out. There's his microphone. Yeah, you can take it off.
Do you need this on a table?
How do you set that?
See through the box on the end?
Yes.
While they're getting ready, I will say, just as a reminder, each contestant or each finalist will have around 8 minutes. They don't have to use up all that time, but they have 8 minutes to present. And after that, there will be a short time where the judges can ask questions. So we don't want to limit that time, but we've asked the judges to keep them short so we can keep this thing rolling along. But at that time, they will be able to ask the questions, and the judges, so everyone at home should be able to hear the questions, and we'll see what comes of this. Good luck, Judson, and all the contestants.
All right, guys, if you will, put your hands together for our Bullinger County contestant, Mr. Judson Mayfield, and his project, Shaskeet.
Hello, I'm Judson Mayfield. How many of you here are skeet shooters or have shot skeet before? Were any of you ever the little brother or sister who had to go pick up the skeet after the game? Most likely the targets that were missed and still together out in the field. I was that little brother. Skeet is a game in which a shooter attempts to hit a clay target that is simulating the flight of a bird. The sport is enjoyed by many across the world, and it can be a competition in which one wins money or used for fundraising organizations. People use skeet for simple practice of waterfowling. Skeet is very enjoyable and beneficial. However, it doesn't always benefit the environment. Skeets are clay targets that are primarily made of pitches from coal and petroleum. These pitches are toxic to livestock and companion animals. According to the Merck Veterinary Manual, coal pitch poisoning is not uncommon in Europe and North America and is usually sourced from clay targets. Clays are fatal to swine, and in particular, vary to some certain swine species. Manufacturers are required to place a warning label on every package of clay targets for swine owners and producers. This is the average skeet field or range across the world, and this is what it looks like after about 100 shooters have played the game and shot 100 rounds. And it's not uncommon for 300 shooters to be in a game, and that would make the waste on a field 3 times what that is. My great-grandpa used to say that it's the smell of money. And I say that the smell you smell is storing carbon and saving the environment. Designed a target for skeet shooting that is primarily made of cattle manure. At this time, no manufacturer ever has made skeet from cattle manure. The cattle manure is hardened into the perfect sturdy but fragile form by being bonded by a soy polymer. Any throwing device. It is just as easy to break on impact as clay skeet, and is just as acceptable in official competition. Skeet is the name of my product. Skeet will transform the skeet shooting industry. Our sportsmen and sportswomen can now safely know that they are helping the environment as they have fun and can be better stewards of the environment and exist peacefully with livestock, wildlife, and companion animals. They are not polluting the environment. They are adding nutrients now and assisting it. The manure is not toxic to animals and will not harm them at all, and it adds natural organic matter to the soil, which allows the soil to store more water. A soil that is more permeable to water is also storing more carbon. Skeet could be marketed to every skeet shooter who wants to use it in a legal manner on any, both public and private. Land will benefit from the use of skeet by nutrient supplementation of phosphorus and potassium. Skeet is an excellent source of phosphorus and potassium, but is not a very good source of nitrogen. The ultimate goal would be to have a product better for the world and price less expensive or very comparable to conventional skeet. Skeet could provide a route of disposal for the livestock industry. All livestock auction companies, feedlots, and other operations are dealing with issues of sanitary removal of manure and are desperately looking for disposal routes. Many hours of nasty labor is currently needed, while many piles are just left waiting for disposal and polluting the environment. Skeet could make manure an investment to livestock companies instead of a problem. Thank you for considering my product, Skeet.
Great job, Judson. Let's give him a big round of applause. Judson Mayfield, ladies and gentlemen. So we're now going to open up the floor for some questions from the judges. Judges, do you have any questions for Mr. Mayfield? Mr. Eddie Adams, yes.
Judson, congratulations on your product idea as well as your presentation. It was quite entertaining. One question, have you gone so far as to look into your market and maybe contacting some of these larger skeet competition arenas, if you will, and see do they have an interest in this product? Are they on board with the environmental concept of this?
Well, I've been contacting White Flyer, who has headquarters in Webb City, Missouri, and also in Knox, Indiana. We've also looked into contacting the Missouri Department of Conservation and its commissioners and other legislators interested in the environment on our public grounds and using a natural product instead of a pollutant on our public grounds. And I believe that would be a good market through the Departments of Conservation and other organizations such as the National Wild Turkey Federation, who are interested in wildlife conservation and natural resource conservation, and also larger skeet ranges who doesn't want that big pile every time.
Thank you.
Any other questions from our panel? Mr. Sam Duncan.
Justin, well done. What about the brightness of the product? If you've shot skeet, you know that's going to be something that people will ask about. I see that it's a little bit less. How do you handle that? What is the answer to that?
Well, these are actually prototypes. But in the manufacturing process, they can be painted with a landscaping paint, the same color, and that decomposes along with the entire product in 2 rains. The average clay target on the market takes 2 years to paint and all. Paint and all of my product will decompose within 2 rains.
Do we have any other questions, Mr. Jason Bean?
Yeah, great job. But one quick question: is it just one size, or have you done the smaller size too? And do they hold together?
Yes, the smaller size would work. Any size of any regular skeet, any clay market can be retrofitted or fitted, better word, to be made as natural decomposable product. And it weighs the same as a regular clay target, and it has the same diameter and shoots the same, throws the same.
Any further questions? Let's give one more big round of applause to Mr. Judson Mayfield. He's done such an amazing job throughout this whole process. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Okay, Pemiscot County, you're on deck. Please make your way to the back of the room. Mr. Red Johnson will show you what you're going to do next. Next up on tap for you guys from New Madrid County Central High School is Mr. Wyatt McCullough.
What is the true level of seriousness of suicide in our world today? In response to that, I say this: suicide claims more lives than war, murder, and natural disasters combined. Worldwide, approximately 800,000 people die of suicide each year. That amounts to one person taking their own life every 40 seconds. Adding on to that, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. And it is the 18th leading cause of death. What can be done to drop these rising rates? How can people prevent suicide altogether? To that, I say, the Anonymous Guidance Counselor app has got your back. Oftentimes, people contemplating suicide express one of the most common: loneliness or even isolation. They feel that nobody is there to assist them in their darkest hours, or that they will receive judgment. Many claim that these feelings are normal, so they do not reach out for help from a psychologist. The most common mental illness causing these suicidal thoughts is depression. 25 million Americans suffer from depression annually. That amounts to over 4 Missouri populations. But 80 to 90% of people suffering from depression respond positively to treatment. The Anonymous Guidance Counselor app will help those who feel that they have nobody. It'll help them understand their feelings and how to best cope with them. As it is anonymous, it will aid the user to know that they cannot be judged due to the fact that their identity is hidden or unknown. To set things into motion, the user will open the app to be introduced to the login screen. In this illustration, this is going to be a new user. The user will then select Sign Up to create an account with a username and password to said user's preference. Following that, the user will then allow the app to have access to their location services in case of any plight. The user and their counselor have access to. Counselors will only be allowed access to a user's location if said user threatens to endanger their own life or the lives of others. After allowing the app access to their location services, the user will select whether they would like to be anonymous or not. Not to worry, this decision is not set in stone. The user will always be capable of going back and turning the anonymous switch to on or off. Behind the sign up is a survey. This survey's objective is to connect the user to counselors and users who have dealt with similar issues who are able to best assist them in understanding and coping with their feelings. It also provides the user with an unending, limitless supply of inspirational quotes to guide them to realize there is hope for them. This survey will be given monthly to unite the user with new counselors and other users if their current situation has changed. Another beneficial factor of this survey is that it notifies the user of the progress they have been making since previous surveys to present how the app is truly helping them. Previously mentioned survey, the user will input whether they are part of the LGBTQ+ community or not. What is that, you may ask? Did you know that compared to heterosexual men, homosexual men are 6 times more likely to commit suicide? Along with that, compared to heterosexual women, homosexual women are 2 times more likely to commit suicide. To answer why, I say this. These members are at utmost risk due to infinite rejection and lack of support from family, friends, peers, and society. They feel that despite all their efforts, they always lose the most due to who they love or who they feel attracted to. Submitting that they are a part of the LGBTQ+ community will connect them to counselors who best aid members of this community with positive results. The app will mainly function in 2 different ways. One is the user could communicate to and fro with their counselor by texting. This is beneficial when the user would have questions or would like to at least receive aid with coping with their feelings. The second way is the journal section, for the user to type down incidents they went through and how it resulted in them feeling. This section is accessible by the user and their counselor, but only the user is able to type or make edits in this section. This is beneficial to have when the user would like to reflect on how certain situations resulted in them feeling. These counselors aiding these users must be certified to do so. This app will be connected to counseling offices to ensure that these counselors are indeed certified. This app could also be useful when a counselor may be sick or have to cancel an appointment to keep a counselor in touch with their users. With said users being anonymous, it could be challenging to keep track of each user. This is why each counselor will receive a list of their users. With each user, the counselor will be able to insert 3 qualities that have that user stand out from other users. In short, the Anonymous Guidance Counselor app has perpetual, or even everlasting, if you will, means of guiding the world onto the path of betterment and happiness. Did you know that it is estimated that the global annual suicide fatalities could rise to over 1.5 fatalities by the end of this year? When is the time to put our foot down and stop these ever-rising rates? This app has the potential to set the world onto the journey of a much-needed change. How can we expect to change in this world if we do not change ourselves and provide the resources needed for said change? Let's take the action needed to be taken to initiate such an outstanding change that we may never look back and regret it. Thank you.
Great job, Wyatt. Good job, buddy. Okay, we're going to open it up to our judges here. Judges, you have any questions for Mr. McCullough? Jacob.
I'll jump in here. Well, first of all, I really want to commend you on tackling a problem that really challenging. I think that's fantastic that you're wanting to figure out a better way to deal with that. At the end of the day, any business has to make money as well. So what are your thoughts on a revenue model? Who will be charged for this to make money?
Well, since it's a globally, and sometimes it's nationally, I think it should be government funded, which I know is a really big stretch, but it's something I have faith in because this is a really big situation that is getting out of hand. So if the government wants to keep their people alive or feels the need to tackle this situation, I think it should be government funded.
Any other questions from the panel? Okay, everybody give him one more big round of applause for Mr. Wyatt McCullough. Great job, Wyatt. Stoddard County, you're on deck. Please make your way to the back of out this door here. Either way, you can go out here. And that brings up our next group from Pemiscot County and Delta C7 High School. we have Vivi Wallace and Tyson with the All Box.
Hello everyone, I'm Vivi.
And I'm Cassie.
We are the wannabes and the inventors of the Owlbox. We want to start this presentation by giving you the important reasons why we created the Owlbox. I'm sure you are aware of the current beef, poultry, and pork shortages. But are you aware that 1 in 3 bites of food depend on honeybees?
Honeybee colonies have been decreasing from 5 million in the 1940s to 2.5 million today, according to the USDA. Honeybee colonies have been decreasing since the 1980s due to parasites, pathogens, pests, and nutritional problems. We desperately need our bees because they are our #1 pollinators.
While no one knows for certain what is responsible for the high rate of bee mortality, there are 2 pests that our box can manage effectively. Currently, many beekeepers may use repellent or commercial pesticides or Vaseline on the legs of the hive stand. Well, none of these solutions offer adequate control.
Why, you may ask? Well, none of these solutions last for more than a few weeks and can be harmful to the bees or will wash away quickly.
Another pest problem beekeepers face is mice. Mice can cause major damage to your beehive as they rob honey and hurt developing bees.
Most beekeepers use mouse guards or mouse traps. The mouse guards will seal up your bees and lowering your honey production, but the mouse traps don't work effectively either.
There are an estimated 3,000 hobby and commercial beekeepers around the Midwest and the Mid-South. This region has 26 states and an estimated honey crop valued at $276. Whether you are a commercial beekeeper whose hives pollinate agricultural crops, or you are just a hobby beekeeper who sells to farmers markets, both of these types of beekeepers contribute to your local economy.
We have estimated with retail market prices between $11 to $14 per pound of honey and 80 pounds of excess honey and just 3 hives per beekeeper that this will yield a total of $6.9 million, which will benefit the beekeepers on both economical levels and social classes.
This competitiveness of this specialty crop as urban beekeepers transition into selling honey, bees, and other bee products.
We have offered a small owl box and a large owl box. They will be made of very strong aluminum with an inner core of Lexium. They will replace your cinder blocks and will be more easily movable.
There are aeration spaces that allow your hive to have ventilation. Large owl box has the dimensions of 24 inches by 18 inches by 20 inches and has 12 aeration spaces, six on both sides. These aeration spaces have a width of 2 inches, and the large owl box weighs approximately 100 pounds, and we have placed handles on either side for easy carrying.
We also offer our smaller owl box for easier mobility. Its dimensions are 18 inches by 12 inches by 20 inches. It has 6 aeration spaces, 3 on each side, but when purchasing a smaller owl box, you'll need 2 of them to support the beehive structure.
Each owl box is coated with a super slippery liquid-infused film manufactured by Adaptive Services Technology. This coating is known as material. This will prevent the ants and the mice from crawling up the owl box and getting into your hive. We have chosen slips because it is non-toxic to the bees.
This is the most common used setup for a beehive, but this is our alternative, the owl box. It is lighter weight and has aeration spaces.
As you can see, it is a lot easier to pick up than the cinder block. The owl box is top of the line when it comes to dimensions, durability, and pest management. Most hive stands around the U.S. have adjustable legs and only raise at most 12 inches above the ground.
Whereas our owl box will stand above the ground 18 inches, which is the required height to protect the beehive from raccoons and skunks. It is in fact mounts less than 4 cinder blocks, which makes it easier for the beekeepers to better establish their hives.
The raw materials necessary for the manufacture of the owl box includes aluminum sheets, Lexane polycarbonate, and slips material. The boxes will need to be cut, welded, and molded to the specific box measurements around the polycarbonate.
Polycarbonate is a strong polymer used in engineering. We chose to use this because of how easily it is worked, molded, and thermoformed.
The owl box can be sold at large box stores such as Tractor Supply or Home Depot. It can be also sold online through stores that sell beekeeping products such as Man Lake or Glory Bee. There is also a yearly national beekeeping conference that it can be sold at. This is American Beekeeping Federation Conference and Trade Show.
This trade show attracts 91 exhibitors and has 12,000 beekeepers in attendance. The owl box can be sold at this trade show as well as other state beekeeping conferences.
Hope you have enjoyed our product explanation and demonstration. We invented the owl box because we love and care about our bees and their keepers. Thank you for your time today and for this wonderful opportunity.
By these young entrepreneurs, we're going to open it again to the panel for questions. Mr. Eddie Adams.
Thank you. Congratulations, ladies, on a neat
Thank you.
concept and a very good presentation. My question to you is, have you actually had the opportunity to field test this product? Have you tried it in the real world to see if it works and maybe have some numbers on the effectiveness of it, some percentages?
No, sir, we have not actually made the real box and we have not actually.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the panel? Okay, let's give one more big round of applause.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on tap from Steiner County, we have Mr. Corbin Williams with Breathe Easy. I had to act like I was announcing sporting event right there. We got also the road. Butler County, you're on deck.
Hello, my name's Corbin Williams, inventor of Breathe Easy. First and foremost, thank you for allowing me to share my bright idea with you today, an experience that I will always remember. As you see, I have some prototypes of Breathe Easy. If you want to try them later, feel free to do so. The day Miss Becker, my teacher, told my class about the Bright Idea contest, I was very excited. Later, when I told her I wanted to participate, she told me to go for it. Now the question is, how does somebody come up with a new idea? In a world like ours, it seems everything needed has already been invented. I started with the basics. I brainstormed. I would listen to small things that irritated people and write them down. After I realized I had 4 medical professionals in my family, I wanted to make their job more pleasurable. It seems that most people try and make their environment smell good, such as everyone wears deodorant, men wear aftershave, women wear perfume, and everybody loves it. But what do you do when you want to make the environment smell good to you? Breathe Easy could help a number of different people, such as sanitary workers, plumbers, wives whose husbands stink up the bathroom, teachers, pregnant women sensitive to certain smells, and you. I was tired of hearing my family complain about all these bad odors. This is why I invented Breathe Easy. Breathe Easy is a product that captures and eliminates bad odors and replaces them with a pleasant scent. After doing my research for Breathe Easy, I started with 6 different scents, which consist of sweet orange, lavender, peppermint, tea tree, eucalyptus, and peppermint. I wanted Breathe Easy to be safe, so I made it using only ingredients, which consist of olive oil, cocoa butter, beta-cyclodextrin, aloe vera gel, all-natural essential oils, and beeswax. The science behind Breathe Easy is quite simple. The beta-cyclodextrin captures and encloses the bad odor molecules and pretty much masks them to where your scent receptors can no longer detect. But due to the essential oils being too close to your scent receptors, the beta-cyclodextrin cannot efficiently capture the essential oil molecule. You get the pleasant scent of Breathe Easy. Whenever I was first developing Breathe Easy, I intended it to be used for medical professionals and for my family. So I made it where it would soak into the skin so it could not be seen by others. This accommodation of Breathe Easy would make it even to be used. Breathe Easy has been tested many different times by different people in different environments. After getting these test results back, which were all positive, I've concluded that Breathe Easy lasts from an hour and 30 to an hour and 45 minutes before needing to be reapplied. But applying Breathe Easy is simple. A little bit on your fingertip, rub it under the nose and around the nostril until it is soaked into the skin or can no longer be seen. Now remember, next time that you encounter, just breathe easy. Thank you.
Good job, Corbin. Judges, open again for questions. Any questions from the panel? Okay, hey, let's give it again. Waterprint Williams. Sound. We're just going to stand behind the table for a second, and then my assistant Burley will be there. He is. Let's get.
Good morning, everyone. We are our Poplar Bluff Technical Career Center students, and we're in the class Project Lead the Way, Computer Science Essentials, and we're here today to present to you our Emergency 911 app. This app first came to us as a class assignment when our teacher told us or challenged us to come up with an application that would benefit our school community. And so we sat for a while and we bounced ideas around the room, and then suggested, why don't we see if we can develop an app where you can contact or where you can send a text message to 911 in case you're in a situation where you've been kidnapped or someone's broken into your house and you're trying to hide, not make a noise. And so once we came up with the idea, or once we agreed on the idea, I should say, we decided to do research to see if there was any overlap on this idea, if it had already been put into place. And we found out that only 2% of the American public had access to a service like this, and it was through a third-party network. And it was for mostly like the deaf and the mute community. And so once we figured that out, we decided, okay, this is a good idea. We should see what we can do with it. And it started with this simplistic design. Sorry, excuse me. This is our current design, but it started simpler than this. It was just a text box, and it had each emergency service, and you would type in your message, and you would press send, and it allowed you, if you wanted to call, you could call from the app as well. But little did we know that since emergency services don't have mobile phones, the majority of them are on landlines, we weren't a text message and they couldn't receive it. So our teacher was able to call our 911 director and see if they had anybody who monitored their emails, email them a message like that. And so we figured out that we could, and so my partner Jimmy right here, he came up with a way to where whenever you pressed, you would type your message here, and whenever you pressed send your message, it would compose the entire email for you. It would already be composed to the emergency service that you wanted to send it to, and it would also send your coordinates of your current location with it. And so once we got the ideas going and we really put it into effect and got it to actually work with it, implementing our own phone numbers to see if we could get the emails and messages just to go through, and we figured out we could, to talk to our EMA director, and he was really excited about it and loved it as well. And so once we went from there and we got with him, he was able to talk to his connections that he had, and we went actually to the City to present our app that we created to Senator Doug Libla and our Missouri Representative Jeff Shawn. And we got more and more ideas from them. We showed them our app. They liked how it worked. They asked us questions, was the location services, how would it be? Would it be your current location at the exact time you sent it, or would it be, wherever you were 5 minutes ago? So we had challenges like that we had to figure out how and we implemented a map feature into it, which would have the designated emergency services in your local town or your city marked, and it was able to be used off and online, whether you had. And then whenever we got into the final steps of it, we decided that we should add an emergency contact list, which is what you see on the far left, and you were able to add 3 emergency contacts, such as mom, dad, brother, anything like that. And what would happen is if you press the panic button up there, it would automatically send a message to your emergency contacts, and it would say, so-and-so just contacted this emergency service for this at this location. So then not only will the emergency service know where you are, your family members will also know that you're in danger.
All right, so yeah, I did the programming, and we started with we just had like a text box, and we would, during the development process, every time we added something new, we would test it just to make sure. So we actually have a working product now that is everything that was seen on the first picture. But we started with just a text box, and we would play around with going into the programming and setting our phone numbers each to a different emergency service to each other until we did realize that they can't receive SMS messages. So then we got the email set up, and then we also added a picture button. So there was only a small percentage of crimes are solved because of lack of physical evidence. So with the ability to take a picture and then have that attached to the email that you're sending, that's your physical evidence, and then your crimes are more likely to be solved and you're more likely to get help. And then the family services, so you can add up to 3 contacts, and then each of them will get a message saying the same thing, and it'll have your current location added on there. It'll say who you contacted and what for.
I was in charge of keeping track of the development of the app and making sure, taking notes during meetings and writing what improvements we could make, and taking advice from people like Senator Doug Libla and Representative Shawn. We are still working on making it better, and I also made for the app to collect data about how we could benefit the community with it and make sure that people will use it. And we could we talked to Principal about marketing ideas that we could use, and he said subsidizing it through hospitals and schools and police departments would be good, or we could it's an app, so we could make it available on Google Play for everyone to use.
Okay, so we all did work together on this. Aaron, of course, came up with the idea. Jeremy was the brains behind the operation and did most of the programming. We all chimed in a little bit. Kristen and I actually co-designed, sort of. We did decide to use her final design for the version of the
the app that we have now, and I was responsible for making the initial design that you saw and on the first slide.
And like Christian said earlier, improvements on it. We are currently attempting to make another screen to the app where you can put if you have any underlying health issues, such as say you're diabetic, or even if you had asthma, anything like that, or if you suffer from epilepsy, you can put that into like your personal information, to a personal information screen. And so if you need to contact emergency services such as an ambulance or 911, you can say, or if you suffer from heart attacks in the past, we'll send that panic button. It'll send all your underlying health issues with the message. That way they can be better prepared to come serve it. And that is all that we have to offer for you.
Great job, guys. Another great performance here. We're going to open it back up to the panel one more time and see if we have any questions for Butler County. Any questions from the panel? All right, let's give another big round of applause for our Butler County champions. Judges, you're going to have your hands full. That was 5 great performances there, and I don't know how we're going to decide a winner, but we are going to decide a winner. And at this time, we would like to recognize these county champions. Barry and Michelle are going to come up, and we're going to present them as the judges tally their scores. We're going to present the county winners with their medals and their prize money. And once we are done with that, we're going to announce the Bright Idea Grand Champion, and they're going to get this plastic check right here. I don't know if the banks will take it. They may or may not, but we're going to say there's $10,000 behind this check.
This one won't bounce. So all of y'all did a great job. It's really comforting to know that we've got these young inventors in Southeast Missouri. Southeast Missouri's in good hands. I often ask my kids, are there any good ideas left in the world? Have they all been invented? So I ask my kids and wife that all the time. So y'all done a great job. All of the ideas were awesome. Couldn't ask for better ideas for our inaugural Bright Idea contest. Heart and soul into it. It was awesome. Southeast Missouri's in good hands, and just proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
So we're going to call up Mr. Judson Mayfield first. This is your county champion. Throughout this whole process, there's been a lot of steps that these young people have endured from the initial entry all the way to this. It takes a lot of courage to come up here and present in front of any size crowd, and every group really hit a home run. Let's give it one more round of applause for Mr. Judson Mayfield. Right behind Judson from Stoddard with Breathe Easy, Mr. Corbin Williams. Great job, Corbin. You want to get another one here? Yeah, you can take your masks off for the picture. Round of applause for Mr. Corbin Williams. What a great job. Next up, Pemiscot County. The All Box, Cassie Bryson and Vivi. Let's give them applause. One more time for the Pemiscot County champions. From New Madrid County, Mr. Wyatt McCullough. And his project, the Anonymous Guidance Counselor. Let's hear it again for the New Madrid County champion. And last but certainly not least, the champions from Butler County, Mr. Aaron Johnson, Kristen Laird, Maria Powell, and Jeremy Bell with the Emergency 911 app. You guys can take your mask off for the pictures. Your Butler County champions. So as that's gathering the score cards one more time, the whole concept of this Bright Idea project was to show that you don't have to be from St. Louis, a big city, to have a bright idea. You can come from a small town. And Southeast Missouri has plenty of bright young minds, and we're here to showcase and showcase that Southeast Missouri can be a hub for greatness. And we're here to promote and spark entrepreneurial spirit in the youth, just like you saw today from these 5 amazing winners. So as we're adding these up, let's give a round of applause for our judges one more time. I'm going to give them one more time. Mr. Eddie Adams, Miss Kim Heckemeyer, Mr. Tim Martin, Yvonne Randolph, Tommy Ellenberg, Jacob Paulison, Alan Hedrick, Betsy Mays, Jason Bean, Kim Kiesler, Kim Blissett, and Mr. Sam Duncan. One more round of applause for our judges. Hold our big check and present it to the champion here in a second. They go to Bernie High School. Jonathan and Joel Aycock right here, ladies and gentlemen. About 1 minute here and we'll see where we're at on the judging. So we're getting really, really close to having a champion.
And a logo, and you put that little TM symbol in there, it's trademark. You say it's yours. You say this is my intellectual property. You're technically protected. Okay? It's a little different with trademarks is that they're automatic as long as you put that TM on it. Okay? So the next step with a trademark though is that if you want to be a little bit extra protected on it, you can register it with the government. So what do they call it? Trademark Protection Agency? I can't remember the full one that is. You can actually register it and send it in and they will verify it and report all that. Then it's in a database, so it's kind of more like a patent too. So we have to prove it, which that's the best way to do it if it's something that you think someone could do. The challenge with names and logos is that what was the name of it? If someone, say, in wants to have that business, they can. You can have it too, and use that same name. And you can both claim trademarks because you're in different markets. Okay? That's where trademarks are challenging because there's a lot of gray area with how do you protect something. So it comes down to whether the consumer's going to be confused about it. So, imagine if you wanted to call it Coca-Cola Bakery. That's trademark violation. That's obviously wrong. But if it's in a different market and no one else knows the name, who used it first?
So then what do you suggest I should do when pursuing? My intention is going to SNT. I want to major in computer science engineering. I want to minor in either business marketing or business engineering.
Yeah. Good.
What do you suggest I do from that standpoint? Now that you just
So it's a challenge with what you're doing because of the legalities. Sort of that's what you could do is is there a different version of the business that doesn't include meat essentially? Where like you can start the business without that, but build it
just the bakeries. I mean, it's guessing or it's not something I've fully gotten into. It's just a little recent idea. A friend of mine has come up with for my mom. She likes that.
So I think there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Maybe you could start a full bakery. That's a lot of work, and if you're going to school, it's tough. You really have to make it. I have a few friends that do that. It's just, business is more of not really a business, but maybe more of an awareness campaign. So you can be a thought leader on it. You can create a program around it and start saying, this is what we do. We're going to push for legalizing. So you kind of, because then if you're already in the game, once it's legalized, it's going to be a lot easier to say, hey, we're starting a bakery. Everyone knows you're already. So you already have so that might be a smarter way to think about, just building some momentum and building brand. So like, kind of think about what do you want to call it? If it's not full bakery yet, what can you do? Podcasts, videos, Facebook posts, get it involved in legislator, whatever, kind of get involved in those pieces and start promoting it. That might be a smart way to build up. Yeah, it's tricky when you can't legally start your business. Yeah, absolutely. Shoot me an email. I'm very bad at picking up my phone because I'm in meetings very quickly. So shoot me an email.
Hopefully sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
Hey,
absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to get it. We have a winner. We have a winner. We get everybody. We're going to get our broadcast back up. Josh gave me the thumbs down, so I got to ad lib again for the 15th time today, and it's not been going very well for me. Okay, we good? Get a thumbs up. Now we're good to go. So, without further ado, we're going to announce who's going to be walking out of here with $12,000. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to let Barry read it.
This is too suspenseful for me. I don't think I can do this either. I'm going to let Michelle do it. I just want to say I don't want the second place, I hate to call him a loser, the second place contestant lost by 0.2 of a point. So the judges did a really good job. It's amazing how close it was. The difference between number 1 and number 2, 0.2 of a point. We went over the numbers for a second time and a third time to make sure, but I'm going to have to let Luke do this. He may have a heart attack.
Okay, here we go. The 2020 Bright Idea Grand Champion is, are y'all ready? From Bullinger County, Mr. Judson Mayfield. And again, I can't reiterate enough, everybody else, you did a wonderful job. This year, you're all winners. It just had to come down to one today, but I can't reiterate enough how great everybody else did, and we appreciate everything that you've done. So that is going to conclude our ceremony for today. We're going to have the Bright Idea Contest again next year. It's going to be bigger and better. We hope to see you guys again. We hope to see some of you guys again if you can put up with us again. So what we'll do is we'll start dismissing, and if anybody wants to come up pictures with the banner, you're more than welcome. And again, we appreciate everybody coming up and showing up. So thanks again. Have a good day.
This is the Bright Idea Championship Showcase, powered by Aycorp. This stream is brought to you by Aycorp Media.